conversationally, but you guys have this, with all of your usability, savvy thing, where you have to wait for someone to meander over to you with a microphone, which is so flow-like when that happens. I'm willing to do that myself, if you want. If you guys want me to run, I will Phil Donahue it up, if that's the alternative we have. Because it really does need to kind of happen a certain way. So if you want, I'll do that. Okay. Should I? No, it's not working. Okay, but I guess there's some like superpower back there. I'll crank it up when I'm ready to go. So there is actually, part of what I'm talking about, there is a reason for who and who I'm going to talk to next. So it's one of the reasons why it's useful for me to be kind of either speedy or really actually choose. I'm talking to you, sir. I don't know, what's your name with the standing with the mic?
Fred.
Fred. So please, this is going to sound silly, but it's kind of half the point of why I'm up here. Please don't just stand to the person closest to you with the hand and give them the mic. There'll be a reason why I'm going to go to somebody. So either, if you can't get to them, I'll run around faster wherever it gets them, and I'll be theatrical in front. So I'm, first of all, just thrilled as a nerd to be in this building. I have to tell you, I'm like kind of turned on by this. It's a little weird. Even before I worked at Apple once. I mean, that was kind of exciting, but this is like, I don't know why. I feel like I'm in like a legendary room. Plus, also, it's the seats in here are very exciting. You guys are all like the design savvy people. So do you know when they're from? Can you tell by looking at them?
Scandinavia.
No, I mean when?
70s?
Like, yeah, that's what it is. I feel like I'm in the place of when this, in the moment of when this place was the shit. Do you know what I mean? They should never take these chairs out of here, I'm just saying. I don't care how amazing that. They're also pretty cozy, I think. For, you know, I just imagining if it was 72 and you walked in here, how super high-tech cool this room must have felt. Anyway, I'm just so excited about it. So my name's Heather Gold. I'm a comic and a performer, and the kind of weirdest, most, in Valley language, innovative thing I do is I have these, what used to be called solo shows. Does anybody know Spalding Gray? Like the first couple of you? Yeah. Okay, so Spalding Gray sort of brought this, if you don't know. More importantly, who does not know who Spalding Gray is? Okay, even better. Really, so what's your name?
Laura.
Laura, okay. Ever go to the theater?
Yes.
Ever see a theatrical performance with just one person in it?
Yes.
So I'm talking this because it's a habit. I'm sorry, you guys, it's from stand-up. Like, I'm realizing I'm double mic'd and I'm freaking out whoever is running the mics. Okay, so with one person, were they telling you a story or were they performing like a million characters?
Could be either.
So you've seen both?
Yeah.
So that whole, I'm standing here telling you a story, that Spalding Gray really started that. That didn't really used to happen. That was at this time considered weird to have that happen, but he really pushed that form of solo performance.
A saloon.
A soliloquy, yes. A soliloquy usually refers to a moment in a play where one character talks a lot. Very different from solo performance where just I talk a lot. One person, the whole time. And also comes from performance art, which predicted a lot of the internet. If you're really if anyone's into performance art besides me, but there's a lot of stuff there that really saw a lot of this stuff coming. So, and he did do something called interviewing the audience. I don't know because of the amount of time I have and the amount of stuff I'm trying to get across because of this weird mic thing, how much I can do it. But I have sort of tried to do this thing. Oh, I'm sort of ruining it by telling you before I show you. Sorry, Gretchen, you're right. I mean, I'm destroying Theater 101. But I figure you're all like note-taker designer types, so I'll tell you so you can write a note and then it'll be real. So I started to try to include everybody in the show the whole time. I did a show at South by Southwest, I don't know how many years ago. I did this internet roast. I started mocking the internet first. So one of the early people to mock it. Not that that matters now because it's so popular. It's great. But I worked at the .com 1998 era company. Many of you remember?
Yeah.
Those good days. I could whip out my jokes from then. You know, when I was doing sites called, like, I can't believe it's not butter.com, you know, because the most innovative thing you could do is turn a cursor into a pat of butter, sort of an oily smear on the screen when you moved it, and that was, you know, who needs to invent a mouse when you can make shit like that, which is what we were doing in 1998. So anyway, this little side, Laura's like, I didn't care, but I was in bed anyway. So anyway, I did this roast, I was asking questions, and I did the setup for a typical stand-up joke. And in a typical stand-up joke, there's sort of a setup and what's your name? What's that? Ted. Have you been to stand-up ever?
Yeah.
So they ask you like a question, like, what's
the color of those shoes?
That's, yeah, a stand-up question. Why are men and women so different? It's like a premise. I'm going to give us all a shared way of being together, but kind of like through an object. I'm going to do a question. You're all going to zonk on it. Then I'm going to deliver the response to that. So I did that's a typical form in stand-up. And so I asked everybody, who's got repetitive stress injury? And then somebody yelled back, we can't raise our hand. And I was like, that's awesome. Whoever it was, Ted, and he was like, let's applaud Ted, you were hilarious. And I thought, what if I didn't write all the jokes? Of course, all the comedians say no. Because I spent all this time in the web with other nerds, and I'd been told what object-oriented software was, and I'd been on listservs for a while, and I was like, what if we did this like that more? So, because you're funny, not just, other people are often funnier, than me, and that's kind of a weird thing to say, because it's unexpected. And that's one thing I want to mention to you before I get heavily into the emotion social thing, which is I believe that the unexpected is more important than conflict. And that's what's driven most narrative arc for a long time. We're used to that. I'm not saying it'll go away. But when you rely on conflict, then the next beat in storytelling mode and in other modes, I guess, that would be like, what's going to happen next, has to be bigger. Like, I got to care, well, you blew up the building. You need to blow up the fucking country next time because whatever, I already saw it, So it keeps going. So I've cussed like 8 times now. It's okay. So it's hard for me. So now I can't take that up. I've already done it 5 times. I can't surprise you with that later. It would not work. It wouldn't grab your attention. This is, to me, become both a lazy way to grab attention and also tiring way, right? Are you paying? Look, it's me, look over here. It means everyone thinks they're trying to look over here. Now, not knowing what's going to happen is pretty interesting, especially not knowing what's going to happen when other people are for sure involved and you know they are. So, was that good, huh?
He's not leaving.
So the unexpected is a really useful thing. So I want you guys to start thinking about people as design elements.
That's a pretty good joke.
Not to reduce us, but because essentially the reason we have an entire internet and World Wide Web is because...
People.
And why do people want that? So we can do crap with other people. That's the point. And that seems to me to be forgotten like most of the time. That is the point of almost everything that's going on. That is the reason Facebook is the #1 site on the web. Ooh, isn't that exciting? Let's write articles about that. Ooh, whatever, it's the place where the mall right now, where you can go and find the people. They snagged some people. Especially the ones you talk to the most, there they are. Hold that thought. Can you write it down, don't forget it. Okay. So, I'm sorry, what's your name?
Dick.
Dick, I know we just met earlier. Hey, Dick. So the people matter, and you're a person, I'm a person, and also doing stuff together is the best. Like you had your story, Gretchen, from somebody else about not having the button on the game, right? Like there's not the building the bridge to get across the water is good, but it also feels really good to build the bridge. If you watch Bridge over the River Kwai, they felt that way. And even if you didn't, it made a whole reason to make a movie, which you can also do to be with other people. You can watch the movie about people wanting to be with other people in order to be with somebody else. Like, we use stuff to be with each other. Does that sound believable? Okay, just committed to that. It sounds really simple. Okay, so that's part of the premise. So even though I'm telling you I thread these big, large conversations, I'm a little challenged to do it here just because I feel like I only get kind of one shot with you guys, and I feel like we're at an incredibly important time on the web, and I'm a little bit nervous. I'm not, things will all die and end kind of a nervous person. I don't think everything is catastrophe. But I do think that it's really easy to do stuff because based on information and data. I'm not a coder. I have tremendous respect for them. I don't totally understand everything they're doing, but I do know when I look at stuff, like you were looking at the YouTube page, and I was like, I know why there's the black people ad, even though they think maybe you're not. Maybe you're black and you're watching Eminem. Maybe you're white. Maybe, you know, maybe this room's pretty white, so we're saying you assume you're white, but let's assume not, you know. And then why? Because there's probably tagged with hip hop, and then probably tagged, oh, it's a keyword. Look at that. You know, I am not my keywords, and neither are you. I have some, you know, but if all you did was interact with each keyword with me, like, you get really bad, annoying identity, liberal politics. I mean, I'm queer, and I live with this kind of politics all the time, and it does not help anyone meet each other. It makes it harder. You a mommy on Tuesdays, identified as a soft butch with a side of Northern California. I'm the only gay person. Okay, just that you're going to subject, you know, so things are organized that way a lot online, and then we try and shove people into those places, and to me, I treat them more like spaces, because after doing these kinds of shows where I was talking with everyone all the time through the show, you know, Twitter finally happened, and Facebook, and I was like, oh, this is like what I've been doing for 10 years of these talk shows, because, you know, you're talking, and I'm trying to get you to meet Dick, and then Ted, and I really kind of want to know, was it something good that you guys said earlier? I'm curious. Is it funny?
It's fun.
You don't remember?
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, so I'll lose anything good. So in order to, you know, to have a space that feels like you know each other more, in order to have intimacy, you know, it takes focus on each other, and that means focusing on with social, which is kind of weird. Like I'm sitting in a room with these chairs are all facing one direction, I'm talking. Mostly I'm still looking at me. It's kind of remarkable. I'm surprised. Okay, that was a good one. Let's be social. I mean, it's not designed really for that, right? This is designed for one-to-many presentation, and a lot of stuff is set up that way. And even the so-called social spaces of the web, Facebook and God help them, Google, you know, is the most Aspergery place on the web, but they're all really competing for who's the most Aspergery at this point. And that's the problem, is we don't really have good social space. But that, trust me, is what most people are trying to do. And someone will, and the people who will de facto kind of make those spaces are often people that I'm calling tumblers. I have a show with Deb Schultz and Kevin Marks every week called Tummeling. Tummeling is Tummel is an old word. It's a real word. It's a Yiddish word. Any other Jew? 2 Jew, 3 Jew, 4? Right on. 5, 2 more? 6, 7. Look how it's like reluctant. 8. It's okay. Bar mitzvah. It's safe to come out. Edgy. 9, 10.
Not Yiddish, not Yiddish.
Not Yiddish. I'll translate. Okay. You know, I'll translate all Yiddish in case you never watched Seinfeld. Eat a bagel. It's Jim. I didn't know you got the hat. You were wearing a hat earlier. Okay. So a tumbler is this really old job, Jewish job, and you would hire a tumbler to come to the wedding and entertain, but also to get everybody dancing at the wedding. Yeah, or to get everyone involved. And if you went to the Catskills, anyone seen Dirty Dancing? Yeah. It's awesome. Julie's who else? I don't know your name yet. Yeah.
Jaime.
What's that?
Jaime.
Jaime? Jaime or Jaime?
Jaime. Spanish, not
Okay, I was like,
Yeah.
Jewy?
Sorry.
It's all right. It's good. Jews are very eager to make everyone else Jewish in some possible way. I also do a podcast, not as regularly yet, called Morning Jew, where we just go through the news and talk about everything, what it means to the Jews. You can make anything be about, you can do that with any topic. It's like you want like a framework, like algorithm for Joe, that's an algorithm you can apply to any